So Joyce Dubois, I mean, who will win? This is the great thing about this fight, Peter. It's a lovely 50-50 fight. You know, the more proven quality is probably Joyce in terms of our amateur accomplishments and everything else. And the slightly unknown quantity, although there's been nothing to say that he's not the real deal and not the full package, is Daniel Dubois. You know, having said that, he's going to find someone in Joyce that's going to stand up against him and hit him hard. And that's what we want to see, if Dubois can walk through that and walk Joyce down. I mean, he's obviously the younger fighter by quite a few years. So, but, you know, I think he's taking this fight because they feel he's ready. This is his being let off the leash fight, you know, and just to prove he's the real deal. And Joyce is a formidable opponent. But in terms of what they've done and who you pick as a winner, I said that's why it's such a genuine 50-50 fight, you know, because, again, Joyce has got low numbers in the pro ranks after that, you know, that long amateur career. But, you know, so he needs to get a move on. So, you know, he's not certainly not going to come to lie down. He's going to come to, you know, look, people are making noises about Dubois. So he will want to, you know, to take that thunder to enable him to move forward faster in a career that has slightly stalled. So both of them a lot to win. In terms of coming back from it, if Dubois was to lose, he's definitely got a great career ahead of him. He's a lot younger. If Joyce was to lose, Joyce would really be on the downside, because it's like, you know, it'd be difficult to reinvent himself and relearn things now. But it's a very interesting 50-50 fight, and they're two bangers, they're two power punches. So, you know, it's an exciting heavyweight matchup. So I really want to see it. But in terms of, you know, I may lean slightly towards Dubois, but not with enough confidence to put a house on it.
And in terms of, do you think the fight will happen?
Well, this is the fascinating thing. The whole business model of boxing has been turned on its head with this pandemic. So, you know, first of all, boxing shut down completely. Then it's like boxing's going to come back behind closed doors with television-only shows. So that's decimated the small hall business. Everybody relied on ticket revenue for the small hall shows. And, you know, I don't know if you know too much about that model, Peter, but generally the fighters sell the tickets. The promoter gives the fighters tickets. They have to sell a certain amount to pay for, you know, the house money, to pay for the doctors, the medics, everything else. And then they get to keep a percentage over that. So really, these boys don't fight unless they can sell 100 tickets. You know, they're very unlikely to fight, or it can actually cost them money to fight. So it's decimated that. That just doesn't happen, because the only thing fueling the small hall thing was tickets. It was obviously fueling the larger shows as well to a great extent, but you also had TV money with it. So the only people that are able to continue now are the people with TV money. So we've had Bob Arum try it in the States, then we've seen Frank Warren pioneer it over here, and now we're into the second week of Eddie Hearn's fight camp. So, you know, some mixed reviews, and I hope they're going to learn fast about it. But obviously it knocks a lot of money out of it. And this is the question with Dubois, you know, and Joyce. What's going to happen when the promoter comes to them and said, look, I know you were going to get X, but we were basing that on selling out the O2, selling £3 million worth of tickets in the O2, which ain't going to happen. So, you know, we're going to take your money right down. Do they still really want to do it for that? I mean, at the top level, you know, Canelo has already said he's contracted with DAZN to get 33 million for his next fight. It was going to be scheduled for the 12th of September. They talked about offering Callum Smith 5 million to do that. And DAZN turned around to Canelo and said, will you take a cut on your 33 million? There's no live gate. And Canelo said, no way. That's what you're contracted for. That's what you pay me. So that doubt is in date now. So that's obviously the attitude from the top guys. You know, and Canelo does generate a lot of pay-per-view revenue. But further down, where there's less money, how much are BT going to pay for these fights? You know, how much is Sky paying for these fights without the pay-per-view platform? And is Joyce to go out pay-per-view? Not enough name recognition for that. So are they going to fight for a lot less money? Are they going to fight for, you know, I mean, 30, 40, 50 grand? I don't know, you know, what Frank's saying they can get. So are they actually going to do it, or are they going to turn around and say, no, I'm going to wait till the crowds come back, because then I'm going to get a lot more money, you know, and it's going to be a different atmosphere. So at the moment, I'm very, like I say, it's a 50-50 fight when it happens. Is it going to happen? I'm 50-50 over that, because the temptation would be to say, we'll wait till the gate comes back. I'll get 3 or 4 times more money, and it'll be in 6 months' time. But will it? Will it be in a year's time? You know, because this thing is yo-yoing now with it. You know, at least you can fight behind closed doors. We've got a platform going where these guys can get out, you know, and can do what they do and can get paid. But are they going to want to do it for less money? That's the big question.
Yeah, interesting. This tweet has just revealed that there were basically fairly modest audience figures for both the BT Sport fight and the recent Matchroom weekend. So I think it's safe to say that the TV companies are not going to be adding additional money to the budgets. When you also take the ticket revenue out of it as well, there's obviously less money to go around. But is what we're looking at maybe an adjustment of the world of boxing? You know, in sport generally, you know, when Jeff Hurst won the World Cup in 1966 as part of that great team, before either of us were born, he was on £45 a week. and £22,000 was split between 22 players. So the idea that fighting for 50 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand is not enough, is that maybe just an unrealistic position?
I mean, the economic model has changed obviously massively since then to now, and I don't think it's going to go backwards. We don't generally go backwards. I mean, a lot of people are attracted to boxing because of these huge purses at the top, and they're only at the top. They're not spread so much like football and basketball and other sports. But I don't think we're going to go backwards in terms of that. I think the business model is going to have to develop and evolve, and they're going to have to work out a way of making money out of this. And I think even the small hall guys have got to be looking at this now. And the technology is the answer. How are you going to do? How are you going to stream your fights on YouTube and charge people a $5 a time? How are you going to do that? And initially, it will be difficult to make money at. And let's face it, in the early days of the internet, that people were like, great, this connectivity and stuff, but how do you make money at it? Facebook is brilliant, connectivity and stuff, but how do you make money at it? Eventually, they work out a way to make money at it, and the money is actually more than it was before. So I don't think the days of the massive purses are over in any way, even if this pandemic continues for a few years and prevents the live gates. We will work out a way to get around it, but it's going to be interesting how that business model plays out, and if it's more transparent to fighters so they can see what they're generating and what they're worth. And I'd like to see a lot more fighters get involved in that business model. Oddly enough, with the ticket selling model, which has been criticised a lot for small hall shows, fighters having to sell their own tickets in order to buy themselves in effect onto the shows. The one thing I would say positively for that, and I know a lot of people think in boxing think it's very bad, it made the boxer a little bit of a businessman. It made the boxer understand a little bit more about profit and loss. So the promoter could say it's going to cost me X to put the show on, and this could be checked out, X to pay the medics, X to pay hire the hall. So you need to pay me X, and after that money, I'll take a cut of your ticket money, and you have the rest. So it was a kind of understandable economic model where the fighter could see his worth, and his worth was directly translatable into ticket sales. So how did he up those ticket sales? And that's why you've seen all these fighters get on Facebook and Twitter and all that sort of thing and try and push that. So they've been very self-promoting. There was a time when it was seen as the promoter's job to promote. That's what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to put the bums on seats. The fighters were in a fight. Now the fighters have to promote themselves. But like I say, it does make them maybe see their value. And I think that would carry across with successful fighters as they moved up the ladder. They could say, hold on, I'm generating X, so therefore I need Y. And I think that, but the fighters are going to have to change as well as the promoters and understand this new model and be innovative with this new model and work out, how they can do it and how they can get people in. And again, if you go in for technology, if you do have, 10,000 people on Twitter, can you sell, 2,000 of them tickets at £10 a time for your YouTube fight? Well, maybe if you can, you've got something viable there. So yeah, we're going to have to rethink this model. But I think in the short term, purses may go down, but I think we will, develop and acclimatise to it, and purses will go up again. And I'm sure they'll get to their usual level. It's whether people want to fight in the interim, maybe when there's short end money purses, especially like you say for the Joyce Dubois fight. Because I'm thinking, and I may be wrong here, I may have Joyce's mentality wrong, but a crossroads fight like that for Joyce, a really important fight. If he takes the short money now and loses, you want a big payday for that. And I'm not saying Joyce would lose. He may well win. But then even if he wins, what does he move on to? Does he move on to the next fight a year down the line when there's no money, or 6 months down the line when there's no money there either? So, or do you wait? And then if you wait, you might become irrelevant. It's a very difficult decision for these fighters to make. And without knowing what's going on, how much money BT and Sky are putting on the table, but you could bet it's a lot a lot less without the live gate. And it affects those fighters further down the line greater, where the live gate is more important to their revenue stream.